Ariana didn't tell anyone she had decided to change. There was no clear starting point, no single moment she could circle on a calendar and say, that's where it began. It was quieter than that. More fragile. Like something that could disappear if she looked at it too directly. From the outside, her life looked almost the same. She still lived in a modest apartment tucked into a calm street just outside the rush of the city. The kind of place where nothing dramatic ever happened, just passing cars, distant sirens, and neighbors who nodded politely but never asked too many questions. It suited her. Or at least, it didn't overwhelm her. Inside, the apartment was simple. A small kitchen, a narrow hallway, a living room with a worn-out couch that had seen too many sleepless nights. A single plant sat by the window, stubbornly alive despite the fact that Ariana sometimes forgot to water it. She used to think that plant was like her, barely surviving. But lately, she had started to wonder if maybe surviving was its own kind of strength. Her mornings used to begin with noise. Scrolling endlessly. Messages she didn't really care about. Distractions stacked on top of distractions until her mind felt full enough to ignore everything underneath. Now, things were different. Not dramatically. Not in a way anyone else would notice. But Ariana noticed. That morning, she woke up before her alarm. The room was still dim, early light barely touching the edges of the curtains. For a moment, she reached for her phone out of habit. Then she stopped. Her hand hovered in the air, uncertain. She didn't fully understand why she pulled it back, only that something in her resisted the usual routine. Instead of filling the silence, she let it stay. It felt strange. Silence had always made her uncomfortable. It gave her thoughts too much room, too much freedom. And her thoughts, they weren't always gentle. They replayed things she wished she could forget. The conversation she never finished. The apology she never received. The version of herself she didn't recognize anymore. For a long time, she had believed healing meant fixing all of that, finding answers, getting closure, making everything make sense. But nothing ever really did. So now, instead of trying to solve it, she just sat there, breathing. Listening to the faint hum of the world waking up outside. It wasn't peaceful exactly. Not yet. But it wasn't unbearable either. And that was new. Ariana's healing didn't look like progress most days. There were no big breakthroughs, no sudden clarity where everything clicked into place. It was slower than that. Almost invisible. Like choosing not to check someone's profile. Like getting out of bed even when her body felt heavy. Like letting a thought pass without chasing it. Small things. Things that didn't feel important in the moment, but added up in ways she didn't fully understand yet. Later that morning, she stood in her kitchen making coffee. The routine was familiar. Scoop. Pour. Wait. But instead of rushing through it, she paid attention. The sound of water filling the kettle. The soft bubbling as it heated. The warmth spreading through her hands when she picked up the mug. For a moment, she forgot to feel overwhelmed. Not because everything was suddenly okay, but because she wasn't thinking about everything at once. Just this. Just now. She leaned against the counter, staring out the window. A man walked his dog across the street. Someone else jogged past, headphones in, completely absorbed in their own world. Life kept moving. It always did. For a long time, Ariana had felt like she was standing still while everything else moved forward without her. Like she had missed some invisible signal that everyone else understood. But lately, she had started to question that feeling. What if she wasn't stuck? What if she was just moving differently? The hardest part of healing quietly was the doubt. Because when you don't announce it, no one claps for you. No one tells you you're doing well. No one even knows you're trying. And some days, that made it feel like it didn't count. Ariana felt that especially in the afternoons. That was when the silence felt heavier. When the distractions wore off and the day stretched out in front of her with too much space to think. She sat on the couch, knees pulled close, staring at nothing in particular. Her mind drifted, as it always did. Back to things she hadn't fully let go of. There were memories she revisited more often than she wanted to admit. Not because she enjoyed them, but because they felt unfinished. There was someone she used to talk to every day. Someone who had known her in a way that felt rare. Effortless. And then, somehow, that connection had faded. No clear ending. No final conversation that tied everything together neatly. Just distance. Silence. Absence. At first, she had tried to fix it. She replayed every conversation, searching for the exact moment things changed. She wondered what she could have said differently, what she should have done more of, or less of. Eventually, she realized something that didn't feel fair, but felt true. Not everything can be fixed. Some things just end. Without explanation. Without closure. Without giving you the comfort of understanding. That used to break her. Now, it just hurt a little less. Healing quietly meant learning to sit with that kind of truth. Not forcing it to feel okay. Not pretending it didn't matter. Just letting it exist without letting it control everything. That afternoon, Ariana reached for her phone again. This time, she didn't stop herself. She opened an old conversation. Scrolled. Paused. Her chest tightened slightly, the way it always did. For a moment, she considered sending a message. Just something small. Casual. Harmless. But she didn't. Not because she didn't want to, but because she finally understood something she hadn't before. Wanting something doesn't always mean it's right to act on it. So she closed the app. Set the phone down. And let the feeling pass. It didn't disappear instantly. It lingered, like an echo that slowly fades instead of stopping all at once. But it did fade. And that mattered. Evenings were different. They used to be the hardest part of her day. The time when everything slowed down enough for loneliness to feel louder. But now, Ariana approached them differently. She stopped trying to fill every second. Some nights, she cooked simple meals. Nothing complicated, just enough to feel like she was taking care of herself. Other nights, she sat by the window and watched the sky change colors. There was something grounding about it. The way the light shifted without asking permission. The way the day ended whether she was ready or not. It reminded her that change didn't need her approval to happen. It just did. And maybe, in some quiet way, she was changing too. Healing quietly also meant forgiving herself. That part was harder than anything else, because it wasn't about other people anymore. It wasn't about what they did or didn't do. It was about her. The choices she regretted. The times she stayed too long. The moments she ignored her own instincts. For a long time, she had been her own harshest critic. Every mistake felt like proof that she wasn't enough. That she should have known better. Done better. Been better. But now, she was trying something different. Instead of judging those past versions of herself, she started asking a simple question: what did I need back then that I didn't have? The answer wasn't always clear. Sometimes it was understanding. Sometimes it was confidence. Sometimes it was just someone to tell her she didn't have to figure everything out alone. She didn't have those things then. But maybe she could give them to herself now. That night, Ariana sat on her couch again. Same place. Same room. But she didn't feel exactly the same. She pulled a blanket around her shoulders and leaned back, letting herself relax in a way she hadn't in a long time. Her thoughts were still there. They didn't disappear just because she was trying to heal. But they weren't as loud. Not as sharp. Not as overwhelming. She realized something then, something simple, but important. Healing hadn't made everything better. It hadn't erased the past or fixed every broken piece. But it had changed her relationship with it. The memories didn't control her the way they used to. The pain didn't define every moment that it was still part of her, but it wasn't all of her. And for now, that was enough. Before going to bed, Ariana walked over to the window one last time. The street was quiet. Lights from nearby buildings flickered softly in the distance. She rested her hand against the glass, feeling the cool surface under her fingertips. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel the need to explain herself. Not to anyone else. Not even to herself. She was healing. Quietly. Slowly. Imperfectly. But she was healing, and even if no one else saw it, it still counted. Healing didn't suddenly become easy for Ariana. If anything, it became more real. Because once she stopped running from herself, there was nowhere left to hide. No distraction strong enough to completely silence the truth. And the truth was, some days still felt heavy. Not the overwhelming kind of heavy that crushed her completely. But the quiet kind. The kind that lingered in her chest for no clear reason. And that confused her at first. She thought healing meant those feelings would disappear. That if she was doing better, she wouldn't have days where she felt off, distant, or unsure again. But she was wrong. Healing didn't remove hard days. It changed how she met them. One morning, Ariana woke up with that familiar weight. Nothing bad had happened. No memories had been triggered. No clear reason she could point to. Just heaviness. Before, she would have fought it. Forced herself to be productive. Forced herself to snap out of it. Forced a version of happiness that never lasted. This time, she didn't. She stayed in bed a little longer. Not to escape, but to listen. Her thoughts moved slowly, like they were trying to find their place. You're falling behind. You should be doing more. You're wasting time. Those thoughts used to control her. Now, she recognized them. Not as truth, but as echoes of pressure she had carried for too long. So instead of arguing with them, she let them pass. I'm allowed to have slow days, she whispered quietly, almost like she was reminding herself of a rule she was still learning. And for once, she believed it, even if only a little. Healing quietly also meant letting go of the need to prove anything. Ariana used to feel like she had to show visible progress. Be more social. More energetic. More put together. Something others could see and validate. But now, her progress looked different. It looked like setting boundaries no one noticed. Like not replying right away just because she felt obligated. Like choosing rest without explaining herself. There was a certain kind of freedom in that. No performance. No pressure to appear healed. Just being. A few weeks later, something unexpected happened. She ran into someone from her past. It wasn't planned. Just one of those moments life throws at you when you least expect it. A familiar face. A familiar voice. For a second, everything felt like it used to. Her heart reacted before her mind could catch up. That same old pull. That same instinct to fall back into what once felt comfortable. They talked briefly. Nothing deep. Nothing emotional. Just surface-level words covering a history that didn't need to be explained out loud. But when the conversation ended, Ariana noticed something. She didn't feel the urge to chase it. No overthinking. No replaying every word. No wondering what it meant. Just acceptance. That chapter had existed. It had mattered. But it didn't belong in her present anymore. And for the first time, letting go didn't feel like losing. It felt like choosing herself. There were still moments where the past tried to pull her back. Late nights. Quiet rooms. Songs that carried memories she hadn't fully unpacked. But even then, something had shifted. She no longer got stuck there. She could feel it, and still move forward. That was new. One evening, Ariana found herself doing something she hadn't done in a long time. She was laughing. Not the polite kind. Not the forced kind. Real laughter. The kind that catches you off guard. She paused for a second, almost surprised by it. It felt unfamiliar, but in a good way. Like rediscovering a part of herself she thought she had lost. And in that moment, she realized something important. Healing isn't always about fixing what's broken. Sometimes, it's about reconnecting with what's still there. Her life didn't become perfect. She still had quiet days. Still had moments of doubt, but they didn't define her anymore. They were just part of the experience. Like waves that came and went without taking everything down with them. On a calm night, much like the ones before, Ariana stood by her window again. The same street. The same soft lights. But she wasn't the same person who had stood there weeks ago. Back then, she was trying to understand everything. Now, she was learning to accept what didn't need answers. Her hand rested lightly against the glass. This time, there was no heaviness behind it. Just stillness. Not empty. Not lonely. Just calm. She didn't have a final conclusion. No perfect ending where everything made complete sense. But she had something better. She had space in her mind where chaos used to live. She had patience where there used to be pressure. She had kindness for herself where there used to be blame. And maybe that's what healing really looked like. Not loud. Not obvious. Not something the world applauds. But something steady. Something real. Ariana smiled slightly, almost to herself. Because now she understood something she didn't before. You don't need to prove you're healing. You don't need to show it. You don't need anyone else to validate it. If you're choosing yourself in small, quiet ways, if you're showing up even when it's hard, if you're learning, slowly, to be at peace with your own thoughts, then you are healing. Even if no one sees it. Even if no one knows. It still counts. And it always will.